You are listening to Abstractions That Glow, Episode 5, starring me, Avon. In this episode, we will be discussing wonderful, easy topic of white privilege, capitalism, because it isn't the problem, simulation, and let's see. Oh yeah, fuck limiting education, and followed by random facts. Alright. How is everybody out there in the world? I'm doing okay. I was really hoping my friend would be available this week. I'm not going to put any money on him coming to the show anytime soon. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm still looking for co-hosts. If you're interested, you can always contact me. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place mentally right now, but I really wanted to get this recorded. I gotta get back in the habit of doing these shows. I want to start writing my stories again and recording those for First Drafts That Glow. But tonight, we're doing Abstractions That Glow because my random thoughts are worth listening to. They are. They absolutely are, don't you think? I think so. That's why I'm doing this show. Alright, so... Ooh, excuse me. Carbonated beverages before doing a speaking job. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to start today with white privilege. I know. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, I already know what it is. I already know that it sucks. Or you're one of those idiots that actually thinks it isn't real. Now, as somebody who is lily white and have been most of my life, except when I was a teen, I did stay out in the sun a lot as a teen. And I did that because I was kind of forced to. And I did not like the sun as a kid or a teen. So, as soon as I could make the decision to stay inside and stay away from the sun, I did. I simply did. Fuck solar radiation, fuck radiation burns, because that's what a suntan is, people. It's a radiation burn. Anyways, I'm not sure if you know this, but as most people in this country, I am a mutt. And my birth father is from South America. Now, it is not important which country in South America. It's like people who say they're from Africa or Europe or something like that. Just leave it alone. There are people in South America that have been there for generations, married into the culture, and are considered Latinx. Now, Latinx and Hispanic people can be all types of colors. I'm pretty sure I talked about this before. At some point, I had to have. This just bugs the shit out of me. You can have like black Puerto Ricans. You can have pale Puerto Ricans. You can have super tan Hispanics or pretty light skin Hispanics. And hold on, I need to do something. Alright, if you saw a quick cut there or heard some incidental music, it was because I had to turn off the air because I realized when I was doing a test recording here in the place that this microphone picks up everything. And thankfully, my neighbor isn't really making noise right now, so awesome. But yeah, anyways. Hispanic and Latino people come in all shades. They just do. And it's funny because my necro name is very macho, very white. And throughout my life, anytime I got a job or met a new group of people, my necro name and my skin color were played a strong role into what people thought I should be, like what my role in that okay, yeah, my role in this social standing. There we go. You see, I don't script this. I don't. So, forgive me if I'm like, But yeah. And a lot of times, because of my necro name and because of my general appearance, people would be like, well, obviously you're a white, cis, hetero male. You're on this top tier with us. And that happened a lot at a lot of jobs I worked at. And, there were times where I just needed work. So, I didn't dissuade or change their minds. But I don't like really lying about myself. So inevitably, I'd be hanging out with people and, it would come out, oh yeah, I'm part Latinx, back in the day, Latino. And people would be like, oh, well, you don't look Latino and you don't have an accent or anything. And it's like, well, my my mother's family wasn't really keen on other cultures. And my stepdad, straight up racist. Like, fuck him. So I spent the vast majority of my life not really knowing my heritage, my lineage, or anything like that. So when I was out in the world and I was working and I told people, oh yeah, I'm Latinx, suddenly that promotion that I was going to get or those hours that I had at the job vanish. And to add to that, the white privilege extends into heteronormative lifestyles and behaviors. And I've always been a little effeminate, I guess is the word. Like, I've always been slightly feminine, even before I understood and realized what that meant as far as sexuality and gender role and everything like that. I didn't have the language, and I was in significant denial myself. But, if I shared that I was bisexual, because at the time I thought that's what I was, that was a no-no. Yeah. So not only being part Latinx and then being, not hetero, I'm not acceptable to the white circles. Even though I could straight up be a poster child for, the Dukes of Hazzard or some shit like that. Like, I mean, if you cut my hair and put me in the right clothes and everything like that, yeah, you would think I'm a redneck. I can even talk real slow like they do. That was terrible. Okay, anyways, white privilege is real, and the only way we're ever going to get over it, not over it, but above it, the only way we're going to work past it is when you see it, you call it out. It's that simple. Now, you may lose your job, you may lose some friends. Life might be a little harder because you might lose some social standing, but you will gain social standing with other people that will actually value you and will actually have respect for you. Is that not important? think it is. I think that's really important, actually. I think it's more important than letting something hateful and cruel happening to other people or continue happening to other people. It just doesn't make sense. We're all made up of all sorts of ethnicities and cultures. So for white people to think that they're vastly superior to everybody else is a fucking joke. Because most of these white people actually have black ancestry, actually have Hispanic Latinx ancestry, actually have Jewish ancestry. There were so many Nazis that had Jewish ancestry and hid it just to survive. Now, we're not living in the Reich, so speak up. Don't let it continue. Don't let it continue. Speak up, say something. Tell your friends when you see something, tell them that you don't support that kind of behavior. And if they do, then you can't support them. It sucks. And things will change. But in the end, it will be a better world. You want it to be a better world for the generation that comes. Okay. Because that was so bright and happy of a subject, we're going to segue directly into capitalism and how it's not specifically capitalism that's the problem. See, capitalism is actually pretty amazing when you think about it. The problem that we're currently experiencing with capitalism is there's a class of people who are able to mass such ridiculous wealth that they get to say how the rest of the world functions. And these people with all that money take all this money out of circulation, causing inflation, not paying the workers appropriately, reinforcing systemic racism and gender, issues and the whole nine. I mean, they are just some terrible, horrible people. And our government is affected by this, our government's affected by this because of lobbyists. Now, we were doing okay, capitalist-wise, up until Ronald Reagan came along. Yeah, you remember him? Trickle-down economics. The rich people make the money and then they spend it and then it'll go down to the poor people. Actually, no, that's not how it happens because you don't tax them. You don't tax them enough. And also corporations get around the whole tax thing too. Like, wouldn't it make more sense if somebody's making $100 million a year from bonuses and everything like that, that company should be investigated? Like, what did they actually do for that $100 million? Wouldn't that money be best served to reinvest in the company? Maybe increase the pay of some of the lower ranks? It's the idea that fast food restaurants and little curio shops can't pay, 15 plus an hour. That really kind of breaks things when the conversation is happening, because it's our friends, it's our family, it's people we grew up around that own these businesses, that run these franchises, that are struggling. And they're struggling because nobody has any money to buy stuff from them. And then nobody wants to work for them. It's cheaper to keep an employee than it is to hire somebody new and train them. It's just cheaper. And, I don't have the numbers, but, with me, because that's not how this show's formatted. But, I've seen like breakdowns of this. And if you increased everybody's wage by, say, like 5%, at a place like McDonald's, that tends to have such a high turnover that there's an entirely new staff practically every 6 months. If you just gave people a 5% raise, that would be reduced significantly. And sure, the person who holds the franchise wouldn't be saving as much money, squirreling it away. They wouldn't be, buying like a Beamer or something, or whatever the fuck people do with their money that own franchises and, treat people like garbage. But, you're part of the community. And if you're part of the community, you would want the community to be strong, well paid. You would want your staff to actually enjoy coming to work because they're actually getting paid, instead of people who come into work mostly drunk, don't really care about the quality of the stuff that they're making food-wise. Like, just think about that. You're going to a fast food restaurant where somebody is getting paid less an hour than what it costs to actually buy the meal you're there to buy. How is that making any sense to anybody? Don't you think that an hour's worth of work should at least earn you enough money to eat lunch? And I mean a healthy lunch, not just food desert lunch, not just, a cup of ramen or some pissant salad that you put together because you don't have the money for anything else. It is just maddening. And these people that have these little curio shops that are just selling the things that you can get from catalogs, and they just have a business license and buy it in bulk. For those of you on video, this is Bentley. He decided to say hi. Say hi, Bentley. You gonna say hi? No? Okay. Go on. Yeah, these people aren't really adding to the community by selling junk. These stores that are selling, crystals and incense and these, cheap little, things that they say are, these cheap pyramids and these crystal skulls and shit like that. And they're telling you, these essential oils will cure your IBS and all this stuff. Some of them are cute. Some of them are actually bookstores. And then they also sell that stuff. The majority of the ones I've seen the past decade, they're bullshit stores. They're stores that are just selling bullshit. And it'd be different if it was like primarily, a clothing store for, a small, clothing line, that was difficult to order from because of like reasons. I don't know. Like, it's hard for small businesses to ship and, keep up a website and all that stuff. So like, if it's a company like that and then they're like, hey, we're looking for people to sell our clothes, yeah, do that. You're adding to the community then. But also pay your workers a living fucking wage. Or do the work yourself. Now, I worked for a guy in Tampa, and for whatever reason, he took over 35% of each of my checks because he didn't want to match the taxes that came out of my check. Now, 35% of taxes, even in Florida, doesn't sound right. I mean, do you pay 30% of what you earn every week? I don't know. I had no recourse because at the time I was doing a lot of drugs and I wasn't thinking clearly. So he took advantage of that. But anyways, I think it was actually more. It was almost 40% he was taking out. I like 1 week, like the first few months I had enough money to go to the bar and buy a shirt and, hang out with people. And then the last few weeks I had no money, and I'm like, the fuck is even happening here? And I wasn't spending anything more. But yeah, fuck these people who say they can't pay their employees, and fuck these people like, labor jobs that will charge you anywhere, from $100 to $200 an hour to come to your house to fix plumbing, to, fix electricity, maybe, do some landscaping or whatever. Like, some of these companies charge an exceptional amount of money, but they're still only paying their staff dirt. And that's not how things need to run. And we need to make laws that need to be federal. Don't argue with me, because it's true when you think about it for a second. Honestly, think about it. We need some federal laws that dictate, limits and everything, and raises and all this other stuff. And sure, different areas have different costs of living and stuff like that, but that can always be studied, reviewed, and lifted up. And also, living conditions, it costs too much to rent. And the idea is you're renting so you can save money to buy. Now, these days, that's impossible. The only way you're going to buy a house is if you actually already have lots of money. Like Elon Musk, his dad's emerald mine, is how Elon was able to leverage himself into the world the way he did, to amass the wealth that he did, and then lose all his wealth buying Twitter. Elon Musk, you are a fucking idiot. Also, so is Kanye West. I've never liked that dick. All right. See, this is also how I write in my blog. It's very stream of consciousness. With this show, I do write down the topics before talking to them, and I do try to limit it to a certain time frame. Yeah, I just had a brain fart there. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm also thinking of adding some title cards in between each subject, and maybe some incidental music. I'm not really sure. It all depends on how much energy I have when I do the mixing. And I'm probably going to do it tomorrow after doing some adulting. But now we're going to talk about being in a simulation. Now, the Matrix didn't come up with the idea of us living in a simulation. It also didn't come up with the idea of the Matrix being a giant network of computers that contain knowledge and a virtual realm and all this stuff. Doctor Who actually had a Matrix in the 70s. Actually, before that, 60s, I think. I think one of the early, first or third Doctors, I can't remember. Maybe the second Doctor. Doctor Who fans, find out for me, tell me. But the Time Lords were referenced the Matrix, and there were adventures with the Fifth Doctor that I distinctly remember, where he goes into the Matrix, and it's kind of like a Matrix the movie thing, where it's a virtual realm, and shit just gets cray. But anyways, it is very commonly accepted in philosophical circles that we are likely in a simulation. It just makes sense, even if it's not the kind of simulation that you're thinking about, because our brains are effectively in a jar. We process things with something that is inside this body. The eyes, the mouth, the throat, the fingers, our skin, our organs, all of that sends information to the brain, and our brain decides to interpret that. Very similar to how they kind of explain it in the Matrix movie. It plugs in all those things into the body to stimulate the body. So what's happening to you in the Matrix is happening to your physical form. Adds a sense of gravity to the simulation. It's why, unless you're completely detached from reality, video games don't actually feel real. Even VR worlds, they are still just VR worlds. Even if you are comfortable expressing yourself in there, it's not real still. So the simulation could be just as simple as this brain. And we all experience our own simulation. We all see and interact with things in our own unique way. And we mimic others, what we perceive. And that's what creates this consensual reality. And the other really cool thing is there's a delay. If you're listening to this, hearing it, processing it takes time. Seeing it and processing it and hearing it all happens at different rates. You're actually seeing fractions of like really minuscule amount, like it's hard to measure. There's a time difference in when something's actually happening and when you actually process it. So when you hear me talk and you see something, there's a sync issue that our brain resolves. Isn't that cool? Go look it up. I'll wait. All right. Well, anyways, you could have paused it. I don't fucking care. So it's a fascinating thing to think about, to dwell, if you will, in your own mind and consider what it is like being just your mind. Now, the original Ghost in the Shell graphic novel, which inspired the original films and then the older animes, really kind of dived into these ideas a lot. Some of the newer animations I haven't watched, like Rise or something. I don't know. I want to watch them. I just haven't gotten to them. And I'm never going to watch that live action movie. Major Makoto Kusanagi is not some white bitch in New York. Okay? That it is specifically a Japanese story. No notes. I'm not taking any notes on that. I think there are so many talented, like Chinese, Japanese, Korean women actors out there that could have taken that role. And it could have been set, white folk needing to whitewash everything. Anyways, see, fucking white privilege. But I think it's in the Laughing Man animation where they're, investigating some stuff. And one of the people they interview, he's in this little box that carries around a fan. And his mind is in there. And he talks to people and he bounces around like a puppy. And it's really fucking adorable. And they even ask him, what the fuck? And he's like, I enjoy this. This is cool. Like, would you enjoy that? Would you enjoy just being a mind in a box? Like you would still be able to see, hear. You could get some sensors for smell. You could get some, attachments or things that fold out to touch or whatever. There would be like artificial stimulus to create like the effects of certain, hormones and chemicals. So, like, you could trip whenever you wanted to, you could be drunk whenever you wanted to, you could have an orgasm whenever you wanted to. You'd just be a brain in a box. I don't know. To me, that would be a little boring, but it also wouldn't be terrible. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be. I would totally also love to just put my brain into a body that matches how I feel. So instead of going through surgical procedures like what I had done on my neck, or taking hormones to try to shift this masculine body more feminine, just scoop out my brain, put it into a Makoto model, and we're good to go. I mean, obviously not like hers, but like she was a prototype, and she was the person that like proved that the technology could work, so she's like the oldest android or something. But anyways, I'm totally off the rails here. But that's what I do. We are in a simulation, and if we are in a larger kind of simulation where it is some kind of computer, like advanced computer program, or some kind of virtual realm that is just kind of creating us for the entertainment of somebody else, that's fucked up, because I don't want to just be code, but also I am alive, and if this is just a simulation, are they telling me to just feel like I'm alive? I don't know. I honestly don't know where I'm going. This is why I need a co-host. Come to me. Tell me what's up. Okay, the cat's actually scratching at the chair. Hey. Okay. Now we're going to go to my favorite subject. Fuck education. Fuck limiting education. Okay? Fuck how education works right now. It fucking pisses me off that education has this gate where certain communities, certain people, certain countries, they just don't have access to the same level of school as other people. If you do even the smallest amount of research, you will discover that most of the schools in this country that actually have, like, appropriate funding and, appropriate facilities and everything, they tend to be in white neighborhoods. Yep. Go look it up. It's true. The black schools don't get the same funding, and the redlining that's done, the gerrymandering that's done, also limits, certain neighborhoods from crossing. So that's bullshit. Fuck that. And then the gatekeeping for university and college and higher learning, and how prohibitively expensive it is. The whole fucking student loan thing just pisses me off. Like, it's redonk. Like, education needs to be free up through a 2-year degree at a college or university. Just totally free, out of the box, and have the same level of education for everybody across the board. No limiting of subjects or information. Just get that shit in people's heads. Get that shit in kids' heads. Teach kids logic and rhetoric and philosophy. Teach them about the ethics and politics of other countries. Teach them about like what it is to be an adult in this country, you know, paying taxes, voting, you know, let kids, you know, develop critical thinking and, you know, actually have a choice into, you know, like if a kid wants to study Russian or Chinese or Spanish or French or, you know, like even J.R.R. Tolkien's Elfish, those things should be available to kids. There's merit in all kinds of learning. And I think it's doing a serious disservice to children to hold them down in such a way that they have to struggle just for that. And that the kids who are born into situations or families or skin color that actually facilitates them rising up and getting that education, you know, they shouldn't have a higher starting point than everybody else. That's just bullshit. You know, I kind of want to start a charity where I can collect older e-readers or, you know, bulk buy a whole bunch of them. You know, if I can, you know, set up a charity or something and get enough money to just buy like, you know, hundreds, thousands of e-readers and then fill them up with all the textbooks from, you know, kindergarten to, you know, a 2-year degree. I mean, they're just, the vast majority of them are just textbooks. You know, textbooks take up very little space, and a lot of e-readers have like a number of gigabytes available. And you can have them in multiple languages. And you can make these available to like all children. Just be like, here's a thing full of all this education. You know, and like you could even add, you know, the religious books of every major religion, you know, the philosophical discourses that may not be part of, you know, an actual class or something, because like, you know, not everybody wants to study philosophy, but some people may get into Sartre or Kant or Nietzsche and want to dive into that. And that's fine. You know, let them do that. And somebody pointed out to me, well, you can provide this for them, but it's not the same as getting the education. And that is true. I'm not saying that this would actually teach kids everything they need to know, but they would have access to that information in order to ask the questions. And then that way schools could be relieved of the burden of providing these materials. They could actually focus more on how each kid learns and let the kid learn at their progress rate. The teachers, we need more teachers anyways. You know, one teacher for every 10, 15 students. I mean, that seems reasonable to me. And pay them a fucking living wage. It just makes sense to me to do something like this. I'm confused why Bezos himself, you know, the guy who owns a company that makes e-readers. I'm baffled why he can't consider the idea of making e-readers free to school children. How does that not make sense? You know, like, and the number of, you know, classic books and everything that are available for free on the Amazon Kindle Marketplace that kids would have access to, like, That's a library right there. And libraries even have lending programs for e-readers. So why not? That would encourage them to go to the library. If it wasn't free on the Amazon store, they could go to the library and get the, latest, John Varley, or, read through The Dragons of Bern, or, J.R.R. Tolkien's Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Even Douglas Adams' Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul, or what most people know, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic. So long, thanks for all the fish. Young Zaphod plays it safe. Yeah. It just baffles me. The man has more money than his descendants would be able to spend. Like, it's just ridiculous. He could easily provide a free Kindle to every child, right? Right now. Hey, Bezos, if you're directed to listen to this and you're listening to me right now, holler at your girl. I want to know why you don't just do this. It just doesn't make sense to me. You need to do this. Or you at least need to make it as something that could be done. Anyways. I've kind of gone off the rails today. I'm still getting used to doing these videos and podcasts. There is a video version of this that you can find on YouTube, Abstractions that Glow. This podcast is starting to become available on all the platforms. I need to get more listeners in order for it to show up on some of them, which is fine. But now we're at random facts. All right, giggity. Okay. I did say that. I can't say I didn't say that because I did say that. Random facts. Oh, if you're watching on video, you'll note that I'm wearing black lipstick. Now, I am just experimenting with this stuff because it's like schlack. But just by talking, I've rubbed off some on my bottom lip, so it's uneven, and you can see some of the pink of my mouth. It looks super freaky when I smile too. You can see more of my lip. I don't know if I need to let it dry or if it's just how my mouth works, but it is weird. That's why I like lip stains. Lip stains are great. They were designed for nipples, but somebody's like, hey, what about putting that on your lips too? It works. Some people actually use it for blush too. It's good stuff. What else? Random facts. Oh yeah, I did have surgery on my neck to reduce the apple. I think I mentioned that. And the scar, I'm not sure if you can see it on video. It is super reduced. And I don't have the same kind of self-consciousness about it that I did like 2 weeks ago. And that is amazing. The little euphoric... Oops. Sorry. The little euphoric bumps that I get when I look at myself in the mirror lately, very nice. I've noticed a slight change in my face. My chest is getting heavier. I have a fabulous butt. Yeah, it is delicious. And I decided to take some voice coaching, just because, looking more feminine and being in more feminine spaces, it'd just be great to not have this voice. Ha 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 ha. Even though I'm told I talk in a higher pitch than I used to. It'd be interesting. I need to go back and listen to some of my first Drafts that Glow episodes and see how deep my voice is there. What else? I gave up drinking caffeine all day a couple weeks ago, and I have to say, my morning caffeine, awesome. I don't miss the afternoon caffeine anymore. I'll buy some Pepsi, like here and there. Pay me Pepsi. Send me free Pepsi. But yeah, I'll buy that occasionally, real sugar, like artificial sweetener, some bullshit. Your body still thinks it's sugar, but it's empty calories. Don't do it. Just have the real sugar stuff. Diet drinks are a lie. Yeah, I'll get that sometimes as a treat. But I was consuming so much soda that I did gain like 10 pounds just from the soda consumption alone. And then when I went to the caffeinated sparkling water, I was drinking so much of those. I was just wired, and it was messing with my nerves and my sleep, my mood. So I don't miss it. And I encourage you, if you're into the sugar all day, caffeine all day habit, just to keep going, I promise you, after a few days, the sleepiness goes away. It does. And the cat's trying to climb on the back of the chair again. I think he wants nibbles. Anyways, I think that's enough random facts. I want to thank you for joining me for episode 5 of Abstractions That Glow. I hope that my, nonsensical ramblings about various topics was entertaining enough for you. And, if you want to, you can visit me on Eldritch Cafe, which is a Mastodon server. It's, Eldritch Cafe @NailsThatGlow, /@NailsThatGlow. And then I'm also on Mastodon Social, Nails That Glow as well. The Mastodon Social one, I just post updates. The Eldritch Cafe one is where I, it replaced the Bluebird site for me. God damn it, why did he have to buy Twitter? If you're interested in visiting my blog and reading about my transition since I started HRT, you can go to nailsthatglow.com. There are links to Abstractions That Glow, First Drafts That Glow, my blog, older works that I've done, ways to contact me. All that stuff is on nailsthatglow.com. And if you're enjoying the stuff that I do, my website isn't monetized. I don't have any monetization on my YouTubes or my podcast. I am not really seeking sponsorship unless it's somebody that I really like and really believe in. So if you're interested in supporting me or helping me, get like a better backdrop and some more lighting and maybe an upgrade to my system so I could do some more advanced stuff, that would be fantastic. Cash App and Venmo, both Nails That Glow. Throw a gal $5. $20. It would help me out a great deal, and also motivate me to, just keep stepping up the production value. And, do go back and listen to the 14 short stories that I wrote for First Drafts That Glow. There's a couple of them that they don't work really great, but, that's part of what that project is about. Just punching out a story, reading it, sharing it, and learning from the ups and downs of that process. And I actually learned a lot writing those 14, and I'm really excited to get back to it. But all right, again, thank you ever so much for spending time with me and letting me into your head and, just like, subscribe, share with your friends. Even if you're making fun of me, it's fine. It's fine. I'm confident in myself. I know I'm fucking fabulous. I know I'm cute. If you're watching this on video, you know how cute I am. Oh yeah. Alright. Anyways, thanks again. This has been Abstractions That Glow, and I love you. Abstractions That Glow. Produced, recorded, and starring Avon. For more information, please contact us at firstdraftsthatglow@gmail.com. Also visit our website at nailsthatglow.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.